This is the Restless book, written by a man. And of course we're talking about Go Rin no Sho, Book of Five Rings, by Miyamoto Musashi. This is brutal. Generally the book is brutal, and the review is going to be even more brutal. How it's very fascinating what kind of man Musashi is. When you read the book, you think this is the man. This is the man that mastered his art. First of all, this is what you think, because you can truly feel it that this man is a master of an art of killing. This man has successfully mastered the art of killing. Can you imagine this? How he talks about from 13 to 28 or 29. He had 16 encounters. He killed at least 60 people in this period of time. At last. What is this? Like from 30, he was, like, as he said, I was 13 when I struck down certain person. Actually, killed certain human. That person would cut you in half. You, I'm talking about you. What a big of a deal. That person would cut you in half and would not even blink his eye. That person would not even eat, just cut anything down without even, it would be like something like just like me picking up this in my hand. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the quotes right now. Some quotes I paid huge attention to. The way of the warrior is result, acceptance to death. And we can remember here Hakagure, right? Book of the Samurai. Samurais meditate upon their own death. There's some things that samurais live as already dead because there's no point. Like they have zero fear toward death. In fact, they want to die at some point. Samurais are brutal. They are warriors. They are killers. They are the spirit of they are possessed or possessed. It's all the philosophical translation. You can say they are possessed or they possess this spirit of the warrior that is willing to self-sacrifice, do whatever to obtain reach his goal. He says, if we look at the world, we see arts for sale. Men use equipments to sell their own selves. And this shows is where the Musashi spirit generally, while even the moment you start to read the book, you can see his spirit as a warrior, and you can understand how deeply he looks at things, how deeply he observes, how open-minded, and how awesome this man is. Just to me, this man is. No, even though I already said that, whatever, man, to me this man deserves respect and honor. This man is awesome. To me, he talks about a spirit of winning. The way of the Ichi school is the spirit of winning, whatever the weapon and whatever its size. The spirit of winning, just this first sentence, like the spirit of winning. What is spirit of winning? So many things depend on your spirit. Like I can go as far after devouring, after analyzing this, because this knowledge I received from the book. And by the way, I made this entire pack of notes from the book, and unfortunately I'm not going to go all through. I'm going to just pick the most interesting ones here, but I'm just planning to read these things and go deeply into this book and philosophy, because everything in life depends on a spirit. What kind of spirit do you have? It takes spirit to certain things, and I know this as a young man from my personal experience. Like when I was insanely weak, dude. This was back in when I was 14 or 15. I went to the gym. I went into kickboxing. I did things. It was not fun at all. In fact, it was a very painful experience, especially when I went into kickboxing after I trained in the gym for 2 years or there, because I thought I had muscles. I was not really. Muscles don't mean that you are good at fighting. Yes, sir. You do if you don't. Learn martial arts. Muscle is just muscle. That's all. You just look good. So it was. But there was some spirit that led me in this gym, right, in kickboxing, and I remember I used to literally fight, experienced dudes, and they would, because I was much more bigger weight they were, but like unlike me, they were faster. They were much more faster, and they were much more, just hard to catch, and they could move and stuff. So they would, I would go and read them and fight them. Challenge them, and this was like method of teaching in the gym, and it was just spirit that led me there, because other people in the gym were for example, like were very surprised, and I have never really paid the attention to that experience, that thing this way. That reading this book made me to look at that thing this way, because like people were like really, dude, wow, because it was like, you can tell in my face, and in kickboxing, like the hardest punch don't really come toward your face, but your legs, man, and especially legs, and oh man, because you can kick you like kickboxing is a whole different thing, like very, very different from boxing or stuff like that. So it's like but basically it's like painful experience, but it was also something that I was doing. I'm doing it. And a lot of people are, man, why are you doing this? Because why do you go to that? Because I have spirit of winning. That's why I'm going there. That's why I went there. Because of spirit of winning. Because there's this spirit that leads me to there. Okay, in this kickbox stuff, spirit of winning is everything in life. Do you know how sometimes this energy comes out of nowhere, and this energy like drives you, gives you. We can call it energy. I call it a spirit. It's something that gives you tremendous amount of power to do certain things, because you have the spirit of winning. Because if you don't have spirit of winning, there is nothing. There is no point. Don't try to do anything if you don't have spirit of winning. Why do you bother? You cannot have a win here. How do you expect? You don't go there to win. You just go there for what, man? You won't be able to do anything without spirit of winning, and I would go so far as to say that there is no point in living, to live at all if you don't have, to be alive if you don't have spirit of winning, because spirit of winning is everything. Like without it, things become pointless, meaningless. If we struggle, nothing can be useful for you. These videos, you can read whatever you want. Most likely, if you don't have spirit of winning, you won't bother that much, right? But you can do it. But and in the end, you will be still pathetic because you have no spirit of winning. Reading this book and listening to this man, this man mastered. He's a master of his art. He's master of his sword art. But by mastering this sword art, this book became so useful for anything in life. I mean, in Japan, I watched a documentary movie. By the way, these things can be easily used. These are business principles, man. Seriously, Just analyze these things. This is their business principle. These things can easily be used same way in business. You don't even need to change anything there. It's like a pure mindset. What kind of mindset you need to have to do the business. Amazing. That's awesome. And here's this thing that I've paid attention to also, just I mentioned. That these things, the same principles can be used in business. Like, you should not have a favorite book or favorite weapon. This is what Musashi said. You should not have a favorite weapon. And I've kind of wrote down this quote, and I was thinking, yeah, you should not neither have a favorite book or books. Yeah, books may be a little different, but you should not have a favorite book, just book. The field is varied. Like, there's a lot of things. You cannot just surround yourself with one book. You know what most ignorant people do? They say, "Oh, this is my religious book, whatever religion I care, and yeah, this is the only book I need because this is holy book of my religion." This is what ignorant ones and stupid ones do. They say, "Oh, this one book is enough." Yeah, sure. Don't be surprised that you'll be ignorant and fool. This is the way for men who want to learn my strategy. And we're going to read this because it's really interesting and fascinating. Do not think dishonestly. The way is in training. Become acquainted with every art, knowing the ways of all professions, distinguishing between gain and loss in worldly matters. Develop intuitive judgment and understanding for everything. Perceive those things which cannot be seen. Pay attention even to trifles. Do nothing which is of no use. Oh, this is an awesome thing, by the way. This is how I wrote it down here. You can see it. I have awesome calligraphy, by the way. I'm trying to show off my calligraphy as well. Look at this. When I was listening to audiobook, I wrote it down, and it's just amazing, and we'll see it in other. But he's like, train, man, train deeply, train. The way is in training, basically. He's like, train, and also understand this. But training is everything, right? Beat 10 men with your spirit. Basically, we come back to the spirit of winning. Like, have this spirit of winning. He goes and gives advice to readers of his book. Polish it. He gives advice to not just read his book, but to study his book. And that's why I made these notes, to read these notes and just study it. And after that, of course, I'm going to reread this book many, many times in my life. And again after we finish this challenge. While I'm doing this 150 book challenge, I'm going to reread this book. And some books, it's amazing, remarkable and awesome stuff, right? Polish your wisdom, learn public justice, distinguish between good and evil, study the ways of different arts one by one. He's like constantly learn, constantly improve. Study the ways of different arts one by one. Don't get stagnated in life. Don't be like, hey, I know more than enough. For example, my English is not my first language. And every single day, I learn new single word in English. Even though my English is, awesome level, but I still keep improving, and I'm still keep, studying. Don't get stagnated. Study the way of different one by one. This is such a great advice. Like, polish your wisdom, learn public justice, distinguish between good and evil, study the ways of different arts one by one. And here's how far the man is like experimentator, like true master. He's like, even when you are hard pressed, you should carelessly research the principles of strategy so that you can develop a steady spirit. Even when you are hard pressed, this is his like, even on that moment you should research the principle of strategy. Amazing. In strategy, it is important to see distant things as if they were close, and to take a distance view of close things. You know, it's amazing. It's like constantly. You must train constantly. You must train repeatedly. He talks about harmony with the sword and being harmonious. It's just amazing. What we as a modern human beings, like I try to see life from his point of view. Okay, this is I'm not looking these quotes and this book generally from hey, I'm in this century and hey, that was no, I'm looking from that century. I'm looking from that century, from whatever century it was 17th century. From 17th century's perspective, I look at this current century. So you should try to do the same, experiment with different stuff. And this is how I read this stuff right now, and I can see how Musashi stands in front of a skilled sword master, an artisan. And man, like, there is no beating around the bush. There is no conversation. You can easily get that by reading this. Just like in Hollywood, you just talking bullshit. There is no that kind of bullshit. Just there is between. This is two men against each other, and in the next couple seconds, only one of these two men shall walk away alive. This is no joke. Okay, this is. And try to feel the fear of this, which is because this is no joke. People can. I'm not sure if you can see what I see right now. Imagine standing there, only in a couple of seconds. There will be only cold-blooded slash, because Musashi is very on point in the book. Don't even think about hitting hard or cutting hard. Don't even. Just only focus your mind about killing. Like, make sure to kill your enemy. He don't cares about how hard it grip up. No, just make sure to utterly kill your enemy. And you know that you are in front of these kind of men in fight. Just from a second, your neck may be cut, or your entire head may be cut by one single slash. But katanas are a brutal weapon. And I start to think, what would people feel like if my just get cut? Oh, no. And these men experience these things and write this book, and what is hell? What can you say? And what kind of emotions there come? Because when you are in front of a real danger, as a person, I have this experience. I was when I was like 6 years old. I had like 2 AK Kalashnikovs on my head. Feeling it's like a horrible feeling, and the guns weren't put on my forehead as a joke. Fucking robbers and invaders in house, and I remember how I was scared there, and how I could not stop my tears, and how frightened I felt. And I look at this man, this legend, the legend, the Musashi. How can you not admire this man? And he's all the time, you must train, you must train, you must train constantly, you must train repeatedly, you must train, you must study this diligently, you must study this diligently all the time. He gives this advice, you must study diligently, you must be, train, 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 be diligent. Okay. This is no design, no conception, which generally means when a man's words and his actions are spontaneously the same. You do what you say and say what you do. He talks about how you should make sure, by the way, that you cut down your enemies, not only physical but also soul. Make sure that and I read these 3 things a couple of times. I just stopped listening to the book and I just read these things. Deliberately, oh man, what is this? Deliberately, with a patient spirit, absorb the virtue of all this. Deliberately, with a patient spirit, absorb the virtue of all this. Basically, all this refers to, I guess, the book itself. Step by step, walk the 1,000-mile road. Yeah, and just like Sun Tzu says, right? If you want to walk the 1,000-mile road, 1,000-mile road starts with one single step. I'm not sure if it was Sun Tzu or Confucius said that. Maybe it should have been Confucius. Okay, and this one is this quote: today is a victory over yourself of yesterday. Tomorrow is your victory over lesser men. And in the beginning of the book, I just remembered when he talks about water, right? He says this word, right, about water, and I remember the Bruce Lee quote saying, "Be like water, my friend. Formless, shapeless. Be water, my friend. Be water." I'm quite sure Bruce Lee took that quote saying from Musashi's book, and and I read this book like 2 years before before I got drawn into religious nonsense for a year and a half to where I used to read this stuff and I admired this man. And how did I not paid that attention? It's obvious that Bruce Lee took that saying from Musashi because it's in the beginning of the book, and I was just thinking, how many times do you guys think this Bruce Lee, this man, read this book, studied this book? I'm quite sure the man Bruce Lee studied this book. Because again, Bruce Lee was a very successful man, and this book is already business principles and many stuff in it that's totally useful. If you have these things, business, are you kidding me? It's like a joke to you. He said, examine your environment, be aware of your environment, use your environment for your advantages, because it matters. And he also critiques some schools, but he never mentions the direct names of the school. And he's like, hey, to renew when we are deadlocked with the enemy means that without changing our circumstance, we change our spirit and win through a different technique. Without changing our circumstances, we change our spirit. Without changing our circumstances, we change our spirit first. And spirit, what is a spirit? Pay attention to the ending of this book, of this talk conversation here. And it's like, in strategy, you must know the way of other schools. And it's like getting the enemy by any means. Don't beat around the bush, just make sure to kill. Don't even think about struggling hard or Just make sure to kill water restless. Advice. But it's restless. No, it's not restless. If we look at from the perspective of that dangerous man, it's like total different philosophy and total different philosophical view. He was not doing this because of, it was different social environment. Like Imperial Japan is like, to understand more about Imperial Japan, just read Hakagure, that book. Killing, this. This is the book about. Like, if you were to really unintellectually talk about the book, there are like, and the reason I say this because it's killing like some sort of different thing like, in Japan, like very different, like very hard to understand from, you know, from other perspective. It's very hard to understand there. This culture, of course, you know, reading all, I will definitely read Hakagure in this 100 book challenge. We will have Hakagure. That book is amazing. I love Hakagure as well. That book has the knowledge of this and how meaningless, like how fragile things are, you know. And that book is just amazing. That book has amazing lessons, and just don't understand that there's just, I said, like killing. It's lessons, amazing lessons there that you can, you know, take the best and leave the rest. This is my attitude toward everything and anything. Take the best and leave the rest. And you should be doing the same, by the way. It doesn't matter from where you take this advice. Take the best and leave the rest. But be aware of that rest, okay? Don't be like some lunatic people today. You see, like, yeah, I'm a positive thinker. Yeah, okay, be a positive thinker. You more. Because, okay, you can be a positive thinker, but you cannot deny the evil. You cannot deny the darkness. You cannot be like, oh yeah, yes, the positive thinking, there is no darkness. There is no darkness, only positivity. Yeah, and this is the words ending quote that may bring you enlightenment, right? Of course, there is no such thing as enlightenment, but this, in the void is the way, basically. In the void is virtue and no evil. Wisdom has existence. Principle has existence. The way has existence. Spirit is nothingness. Let me read this again. This is a very beautiful thing for me to read. Let me try to read it in an awesome way. In the void is virtue and no evil. Wisdom has existence. Principle has existence. The way has existence. Spirit is nothingness. In the void is virtue and no evil. Wisdom has existence. Principle has existence. The way has existence. Spirit is nothingness. That's all. We're finished. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you have not subscribe to this channel. Comment down below what you think. What was your favorite quote or favorite moment of this video? What have you learned? And also mention the quote, your favorite quote you think. Which one was your favorite quote from the show I read right now? And see you guys with next book or next video. Don't forget to stay tuned.